Spencer Dutton's long-awaited arrival in Montana isn't just a reunion. It's a seismic shift in the Dutton family's fight for survival. For months, fans have speculated about his return, and now that moment has finally arrived. But this isn't just about coming home. It's about stepping into a battlefield where enemies are closing in from every direction. With the fate of the ranch hanging in the balance, Spencer's presence could change everything. But will it be enough to turn the tide? Spencer's arrival signals a potential shift in their ongoing battle to protect their land, their name, and their legacy. The stakes couldn't be higher. The Duttons are facing enemies determined to take what is theirs, whether through force, manipulation, or sheer persistence. For a family that has fought tooth and nail to hold onto the Yellowstone Ranch, this battle isn't new, but it is more intense than ever. This time, they need more than just resilience, they need a warrior. That's where Spencer comes in at Dutton, unlike any other. He isn't just another family member returning home. He's a battle-hardened warrior shaped by years of struggle, loss, and survival in the most unforgiving corners of the world. The Spencer who left Montana was a young man seeking purpose. But the one returning is a force to be reckoned with, someone who has seen war, endured the unthinkable, and emerged stronger. His skills, instincts, and resilience could be the very thing that stands between the Dutton family and their downfall. But his return isn't just about fighting for the ranch. It's about reclaiming his place in a family on the brink, forging a new legacy, and proving that even in the darkest times, redemption is still possible. Spencer's arrival is more than a homecoming. It's a reckoning, and nothing will ever be the same again. This video will dive into why Spencer's return is so significant, how his journey to Montana reflects his commitment to his family, and what his arrival could mean for the future of 1923. From his emotional transformation to the challenges that lie ahead, this is the story of a man whose time has finally come. Spencer Dutton's journey has been one of the most compelling storylines in 1923. His path to Montana isn't just a physical journey, but an emotional and transformative one. When we first meet Spencer, he is far from Montana, living in Africa and confronting dangers that most people couldn't even imagine. But Africa wasn't just a place for Spencer to escape. It was a crucible that shaped him into the man he is today. Every challenge he faced there was a lesson in survival, strength, and resilience. Spencer's life in Africa was a relentless battle against nature's fiercest challenges. From prowling predators to the unforgiving wilderness, every day tested his strength, instincts, and will to survive. But his struggles weren't just about physical endurance. They were a trial of the heart and soul. Every brush with danger reminded him of what he had left behind in Montana, the family he had been torn from, the land that was his birthright, and the legacy that still called to him across the ocean. Africa didn't just harden Spencer, it transformed him, teaching him resilience, strategy, and the art of survival in the face of overwhelming odds. Yet no matter how far he traveled, Montana was never just a distant memory. It was a part of him, woven into his very identity. The Yellowstone Ranch wasn't just land, it was history, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond of the Dutton name. When the call finally came, it wasn't just an invitation, it was a summons. Spencer knew his family needed more than just his presence. They needed his strength, his experience, and his ability to fight for what was theirs. This wasn't just about coming home, it was about defending everything his ancestors had built. But returning wasn't easy. Spencer wasn't just leaving a place, he was leaving behind a life that had shaped him. The African wilderness had become a part of his soul, its dangers and lessons etched into his very being. Saying goodbye to that world was no simple task, yet the pull of family, duty, and destiny proved stronger. The Duttons needed him, and Spencer knew that his rightful place wasn't behind him. It was ahead, standing shoulder to shoulder with his family in their greatest fight yet. This journey wasn't just about geography, It was about transformation. Every step brought him closer to Montana and to the responsibilities that awaited him there. He knew that the challenges his family faced were immense, but he also knew that he had the strength and the skills to make a difference. His time away had given him the tools he needed to confront the threats against his family and their land. As Spencer arrives in Montana, he carries with him more than just his experiences. He carries hope for the Dutton family. His return marks a turning point. They have endured so much, but with Spencer back, they have a renewed sense of strength and determination. His journey isn't just a tale of survival, it's a story of redemption, loyalty, and the unbreakable bond of family. Now that Spencer is back, the real battle begins. His journey has prepared him for this moment, and his return is exactly what the Dutton family needs to face the challenges ahead. Montana isn't just his home, it's his battlefield, and Spencer Dutton is ready for the fight of his life. Spencer's arrival in Montana is a moment of immense relief for the Dutton family, but it is far from a smooth reunion. The Duttons aren't just a family, they are a group of deeply complex individuals, each carrying their own burdens, wounds, and expectations. Spencer's return stirs up a storm of emotions: hope, gratitude, resentment, and even anger. The family has been combating on more than one front. Spencer's arrival brings both solutions and headaches for Jacob Dutton, the patriarch of the family. Spencer's return is a sign of hope. Jacob is aware of the gravity of their situation better than anyone. He has carried the weight of protecting the ranch, frequently feeling like he was fighting an unwinnable war. Seeing Spencer walk through the door reignites a spark of determination in Jacob. Here is a man who can share the load, someone who understands what it means to fight for survival. However, Jacob also knows that Spencer's return is not a cure-all. The issues they face are as deep as they are numerous, and even with Spencer by his side, the road ahead is daunting. Cara Dutton, ever the emotional anchor of the family, welcomes Spencer back with open arms, but is also cautious. She has witnessed the toll this struggle has taken on Jacob and the family as a whole. For her, Spencer's return is bittersweet. While she is extremely joyful to see him, she also knows the emotional scars he carries from his time away. Cara is acutely aware that Spencer may not be the same person who left all those years ago. She sees the strain in his eyes and recognizes that while his experiences are valuable, they have also cost him a part of himself. The younger generation of the Dutton family has mixed reactions. Some see Spencer as a hero, the prodigal son who has returned to save the day. Others, however, feel the sting of his absence more keenly. They remember the years he was away, the battles they fought without him, and the sacrifices they made in his absence. These feelings of resentment do not surface immediately, but they simmer beneath the surface, threatening to erupt at the worst possible moment. Then there's the issue of leadership. Spencer's return doesn't just bring another strong voice to the family, it also raises questions about hierarchy and decision-making. Jacob has been the undisputed leader of the family for years, but Spencer's presence challenges that dynamic. His experiences in Africa and his ability to handle danger make him a natural leader. However, stepping into that role is not as simple as it seems. Jacob and Spencer share the same goal to protect the Yellowstone Ranch, but their methods may differ, leading to inevitable clashes. The Duttons are caught in a storm of internal strife and external threats, and Spencer's return is like striking a match in a room filled with gasoline. His presence doesn't ease the tension, it magnifies it. Old wounds resurface, rivalries reignite, and the fractures within the family deepen. But if there's one thing stronger than their differences, it's their shared determination to protect their legacy. Spencer isn't just back to reunite with his family, he's here to fight. The Duttons look to him for leadership, but trust isn't given, it's earned. Words mean little on the Yellowstone Ranch, actions define a man. Spencer knows he must prove himself, not only to his family, but to the land itself. His every decision will shape the battle ahead. Yet, for all their conflicts, the Duttons share an unbreakable bond. Beneath the fury and frustration lies a love that refuses to fade. When the dust settles, they may argue, they may bleed, but they will stand together. Spencer's return forces them to confront not just their enemies, but their own weaknesses. And that may be the hardest battle of all. But make no mistake, this is more than just a homecoming. Spencer's return is a declaration of war. The threats against the Yellowstone Ranch have never been more dangerous. Land developers, corrupt politicians, and vengeful enemies are circling, sensing weakness in the family's discord. They want the land. They want the power. And they will stop at nothing to take it. Spencer brings more than just experience. He brings a warrior's instinct, sharpened by years of surviving battles his family can barely comprehend. He is both their greatest asset and their biggest target. The Duttons are outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and running out of time. But with Spencer back in the fight, one thing is certain: the war for Yellowstone has only just begun. Grown even more ruthless in their techniques, this is where Spencer's army experience and survival skills now come into play. Unlike his family, Spencer has been trained to think tactically. His time in Africa wasn't just about survival. It became about understanding how to anticipate danger and strike before it moves against you. This mindset becomes essential as he steps into the role of protector and strategist for the family. Spencer begins by systematically assessing the threat, identifying the most immediate dangers, and devising plans to counteract them. He also brings a fresh perspective to the fight for the ranch. While his family sees the Yellowstone Ranch as their birthright, Spencer approaches it with a deeper understanding of what it means to fight for something you love. His time away has taught him that survival isn't about pride or tradition. It's about adaptability and determination. This attitude allows him to challenge the family's assumptions and push them to adopt new strategies. However, stepping into this role isn't without its challenges. Spencer's return has created ripples within the family dynamic, and not everyone is immediately on board with his leadership. Jacob, as the head of the family, has always been the one to make the tough decisions. For years, he has carried the burden of protecting the ranch, often at great personal cost. While he respects Spencer's capabilities, there is an unspoken tension between them. Jacob isn't used to sharing control, and Spencer's assertiveness can sometimes come across as a challenge to his authority. Despite these tensions, both men understand the stakes. They put their differences aside, at least temporarily, to focus on the greater enemy. Together, they form an effective alliance, combining Jacob's deep knowledge of the land and family legacy with Spencer's tactical mindset. Their partnership becomes a cornerstone of the family's defense, inspiring others to rally behind them. Spencer's role extends beyond the battlefield. He becomes a mentor and a source of strength for the younger generation of Duttons. His experiences and insights provide them with a new perspective on what it means to fight for the family legacy. Under his guidance, they begin to realize that preserving the Yellowstone Ranch isn't just about holding on to land. It's about protecting a way of life, a set of values, and a legacy that spans generations. The fight for the Yellowstone Ranch isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional as well. Spencer understands this better than most. He knows that the family's enemies will try to divide them, exploiting their weaknesses and turning them against each other. To counter this, Spencer works tirelessly to reinforce the family's unity. He reminds them of what they are fighting for and ensures that their shared cause remains at the forefront of their minds. As the threats against the family escalate, Spencer's role becomes even more crucial. He devises strategies to outwit their enemies, often relying on his unique blend of courage and cunning. But more importantly, he serves as a beacon of hope for the family. His presence reassures them that they are not alone in this fight. With Spencer by their side, the Duttons begin to believe that they can overcome even the most insurmountable odds. Spencer's return marks a turning point in the Dutton family's struggle for survival. He isn't just a soldier or a strategist, he is a symbol of resilience, loyalty, and the unyielding spirit of the Yellowstone Ranch. Through his actions, he reminds the family of who they are and what they stand for. While Spencer Dutton's return to Montana is celebrated, it also raises a series of complex questions about his past. For the Dutton family, particularly Jacob and Kara, there is a growing curiosity and concern about the man Spencer has become. His time away in Africa, the trauma he endured, and the choices he made have left deep scars, both physical and emotional. Spencer's past is a mystery to his family, and that mystery threatens to unravel as they try to understand what he has been through and how it will impact his role within the family. One of the significant questions surrounding Spencer is his decision to leave Montana in the first place. His departure from the ranch was sudden, and the reasons for it were never fully explained. Jacob, who was left behind to shoulder the burdens of the ranch, has always believed that Spencer's departure was driven by a desire for independence, a need to escape the weight of family expectations. For Jacob, this felt like a betrayal, an abandonment that still stings. While he may have forgiven Spencer, the wound remains, affecting how he views his nephew. Spencer, on the other hand, carries a different narrative. His decision to leave wasn't just about running away from the family, it was about finding his own path and preparing himself for the battles that lay ahead. Turned into about strolling towards something. The years he spent in Africa weren't just about survival, they were about redemption, self-discovery, and grappling with a world far removed from the one he had known. He witnessed violence, endured difficulty, and faced moments of profound loss. Those experiences shaped him into the man who returns to Montana, and yet they also haunt him. Spencer is not the same person who left, and the burden of that transformation is difficult for the family to comprehend. As Spencer reintegrates into family life, there are moments when his past begins to bleed through his mannerisms, his tone, and his way of seeing the world. All of them reflect the trauma he endured in Africa. For Jacob and Kara, those moments are both a source of concern and a reminder of how little they truly know about Spencer. It's clear that Spencer is not ready to open up about everything. There are tales he has yet to tell, pain he has yet to confront, and scars he is trying to hide. The most glaring mystery surrounding Spencer's time in Africa is his involvement in a conflict that seems to have changed the course of his life. He was not just a soldier or a mercenary, he became embroiled in a violent war that forced him to make decisions that would haunt him for years. Spencer's actions in those years have left a mark on him, and it's clear that those memories are not easily shared. For the Duttons, particularly Jacob, there's a sense that they are walking on eggshells around Spencer's past. They recognize he's been through something difficult, but they don't understand the full extent of it. What makes this mystery even more complicated is the fact that Spencer's return to Montana is not just about reconnecting with his family. It's also about confronting the ghosts of his past. As Spencer re-enters the world of the Duttons, he realizes that he cannot simply leave his past behind. The choices he made and the actions he took in Africa are never too far away. Spencer must find a way to reconcile the person he became with the person he is now. This internal struggle begins to affect his relationships with the people closest to him. His relationship with his family, particularly with Jacob, becomes strained as Spencer's past gradually reveals itself. Jacob, who has always seen Spencer as a young man in need of guidance, struggles to accept the depth of what his nephew has experienced. There are moments when Spencer tries to open up, to explain why he did what he did, but the words never quite seem to come out right. Jacob, for his part, wants to understand but cannot bridge the gap between the Spencer he remembers and the man standing before him. Similarly, Kara finds herself torn. As a mother figure to Spencer, She wants to protect him, to provide comfort. But there are moments when she realizes that the Spencer who left is not the same person who has returned. She watches him struggle, sees the shadows in his eyes, and wishes she could do more to heal him. But Kara knows that some wounds are too deep to be healed with mere words. She has to accept that Spencer will carry the weight of his past, and all she can do is stand by him as he tries to move forward. The more Spencer's past comes to light, the more the Dutton family realizes just how much they don't know about him. The man who returns to Montana is a stranger in many ways, someone who is both familiar and foreign at the same time. The family has to come to terms with the reality that Spencer is not the same person they once knew, and that understanding his journey will take time. For Spencer, the challenge is not just about facing his past, it's about finding a way to live with it and to heal. But healing is never a straightforward path, especially when the past is as complex and painful as Spencer's. As the story unfolds, Spencer's past continues to shape his future. He is forced to confront the choices he made, the people he hurt, and the experiences that have scarred him. The mystery of his time in Africa is not just about knowing the details, it's about understanding the person Spencer has become because of it. For the Duttons, unraveling this mystery is not just about learning the truth, it's about accepting that the Spencer they once knew is gone, replaced by a man who is still trying to figure out who he is and where he belongs. Spencer Dutton's return to Montana isn't just about coming home. It's a battle between duty and self-preservation. The weight of family loyalty presses on him, forcing him to confront the brutal realities of the war surrounding the Yellowstone Ranch. But the biggest fight isn't just on the land, it's within him. How much of himself is he willing to sacrifice for a family that demands everything? Torn between honoring his bloodline and forging his own path, Spencer's internal struggle becomes a defining chapter in his journey. The Dutton name carries power, but it also comes with a cost. Generations have shed blood to protect their legacy, and now Spencer must decide, will he uphold the family's unbreakable code or carve out a future on his own terms? But it's not as simple as just stepping back into the fold. Spencer is a man who has experienced a world beyond the ranch, a world full of pain, survival, and personal loss. His experiences in Africa have changed him in profound ways, making him question what it truly means to be loyal to the Dutton family and what it means to be true to himself. One of the key struggles Spencer faces is reconciling his military mindset with the familial expectations placed on him. His time in Africa was one of brutal survival, where decisions had to be made quickly and without the luxury of second chances. Spencer has learned to think pragmatically, to distance himself from emotions in order to focus on the task at hand. But the Duttons, particularly Jacob, expect a different kind of loyalty, one based on blood, tradition, and family bonds. This disconnect causes friction between Spencer and the rest of the family, especially when his decisions appear to be influenced more by his past experiences than by the traditional values of the Duttons. Jacob, ever the patriarch, believes in the unbreakable bond of family. He sees Spencer's return as an opportunity to solidify their strength and legacy. To him, Spencer's military experience should be a tool in the fight for survival. But Spencer's loyalty to the family is tested when he faces a choice that could force him to betray his own values. As Spencer dives deeper into the Dutton family's war, he begins to question whether the price of loyalty is one he's truly willing to pay. Every choice he makes doesn't just shape his own fate, it determines the future of the entire Dutton legacy. Does he surrender to tradition, bound by the weight of duty, or does he break free, forging a path defined by the lessons he learned beyond the ranch? For Spencer, this isn't just about land or loyalty, it's about identity. The name Dutton carries power, but also expectation. He refuses to be the man who sacrifices everything without question, yet he can't simply walk away. The pull of his own ambitions clashes with the unshakable bond of family, leaving him at a crossroads, Does he fight for the Duttons as they always have, or redefine what it means to be one? The question is whether he can strike a balance between his loyalty to the family and his need to claim his own identity and agency. This internal battle is complicated by Spencer's relationships with other members of the Dutton family, especially his Uncle Jacob and Aunt Cara. Jacob, who has always seen Spencer as a nephew to guide, has a clear vision of how Spencer should fit into the family dynamic. His expectations are clear. Spencer should help protect the ranch, stand with the family, and contribute to the defense of their land. However, Jacob's ideal of loyalty is steeped in tradition, while Spencer's more modern, self-reliant approach often clashes with it. Cara, on the other hand, sees Spencer not just as a soldier or a fighter, but as a young man who has suffered deeply. She understands that Spencer's time away has changed him, and she recognizes that he is no longer the same person he once was. While she is grateful for his return and the strength he brings, she also knows that Spencer must find his own path. She doesn't pressure him to conform to family expectations as much as Jacob does, but her quiet support sometimes feels like a subtle challenge. Cara wants Spencer to be the man he is meant to be, not just the man the family needs him to be. This struggle for identity and loyalty also affects Spencer's relationships with the younger generation of Duttons. His return is an opportunity to re-establish connections with his cousins, but it also brings new challenges as he tries to reconcile his past with his present and decide what kind of future he wants to create.